I'm about to start talking about drugs, and more specifically, I'm going to be speaking about testosterone and everything around you optimizing your own testosterone in your life. I'm relatively new to the YouTube space and doing this properly, so I don't know if me speaking about that in the first couple of videos is going to make this video completely rank down and nobody will be able to see it. But I've got a low enough subscriber rate currently that doesn't bother me, and I want to actually put out some positive information. Just as a pre-qualifier, so you know where I'm coming from, I used to compete in bodybuilding. I have used and abused steroids and been around a lot of different people who have done every drug under the sun. I used to work for Enhanced Athlete, Mr. Tony Huge, all about educating people on safer and better use, as well as crazy over-the-top use in order to gain enormous amounts of muscle. With that, I did so much research in my early and mid 20s to understand as much as I could around anabolic hormones. I'm now at 33 years old, looking at starting a family in the next year and a half to 2 years. I'm a men's coach. I don't have any of my clients using anabolics. All of the dudes that I tend to coach are in a similar position to me. They're either already fathers or looking at becoming fathers. So the conversation is coming up more and more frequently as information gets out there that TRT might be a good option for a lot of men from 30 plus. What I want to dispel is a couple of myths and give you just some food for thought so you can go and do your own research and understand what you're looking to do with your body at a better, more informed level. With TRT, if you've never heard of it, I don't know what rock you've been living under, but testosterone replacement therapy is not the same as just jumping on the juice and buying a bottle of gear from somebody in a gym locker room. It's going to a doctor, getting your blood work done, and if you are out of the range of normal for testosterone, replacing your existing endogenous, which is the fancy word for your natural testosterone, with exogenous, which is the fancy word for a hormone outside of the body, for the rest of your life. In most cases, it requires you to inject testosterone into your body at least once a week. Better way to do it is every day, but that's another conversation. For the rest of your life. That's not convenient. So if you've not been a amateur or professional bodybuilder, and I was completely amateur, maybe try to not do it, if I'm just being honest. It's inconvenient to need to inject yourself with drugs, bring them on holidays, bring them to work, do all these different things that make your life inconvenient. So what I'm going to advise is to go and get some blood work from a doctor that knows what they're doing, because if you talk to your general practitioner, a lot of them will look at you like you're crazy. I had a horrible interaction with a new GP last year who, after explaining to this person my background, my anabolic use, my previous history of doing very frequent blood draws to find out exactly what was going on under the hood, that I wanted to do blood work twice a year, full panel, see everything that was under the hood and make sure that I was healthy. This person suggested that I had obsessive compulsive disorder because I wanted 2 blood panels a year, because I was healthy. I walked in full health. As I am now, I was probably in a little bit better shape when I walked in the door. So their suggestion was, you're healthy, you don't need blood work. I'm like, I'm healthy, I want to stay healthy, so I need blood work as part of preventative healthcare. Needless to say, I didn't stick with that doctor. There is some clinics in Ireland where you don't need to deal with a GP and you can just order your own bloods. I don't have connections with any of those labs, so that's something you need to look for yourself. But what I'm going to suggest is that if you go and get that blood work done and you are told that you are suboptimal on testosterone or any of the other cascade of hormones connected to you having optimal testosterone, before you jump to using drugs, you need to look at everything else in your life to see what can be fixed before intervening with drugs. What do I mean by that? If you get 2 or 3 hours sleep on average most nights, you eat terrible food, lacking in fat, if you overtrain and you're constantly stressed and dehydrated, why would you possibly have adequate levels of testosterone or any other hormone for that matter? Address one of those things at a time, fix them, and then go back next year and see what your bloods are at. If you've done all of that and you're sleeping 6 to 8 hours, you're eating adequate amounts of fat, you're not overtraining, you're not stressed, you're hydrated, and you're still subpar, then you have the conversation of introducing a drug. But even then, I don't suggest the first protocol as testosterone if your T is a little low. Instead, look to see is there something else downstream that can fix it. Because as an example, a friend of mine got his blood work done. His LH, so luteinizing hormone, was lower than it should be. That's part of the feedback loop that signals from your hypothalamus to signal to your balls to make them produce adequate amount of testosterone. This dude's never used anabolic steroids. He is a dad. He is a hardworking man out doing his thing. He was still strong and performing well in the gym, but wasn't feeling as sharp as he wanted. The doctor suggested that he do HCG, which was a drug that can allow your signal to those balls to produce more luteinizing hormone. That brought him into the range that he needed to be. He now doesn't need TRT. Still needs to monitor his blood work, needs to monitor his food, his stress, his sleep, all of those things. But he could have just been told, yeah, here's the shot, you're on that for life. So the takeaway I want you to have from this video is a few. There's a couple of things to take from this. First one is blood work's important, whether you're using anabolics or not. Get it done 1 to 2 times a year, especially when you're over 40. The second takeaway is before you look at taking drugs, have a look at the other controllables in your life. Your sleep, your food, your training, your stress, your water. Get all those 5 pillars right before you go jumping to interventions with drugs. And the third important takeaway is don't just jump straight to TRT. Look at the other options. See, is there something you can do where you're not committing yourself to drug use for the rest of your life? I'm planning to do more videos about this whole space of biohacking, if we can even call optimizing your hormones biohacking. So if it's something that you like the sound of, click subscribe wherever that is, like, comment, give me your own takes on your TRT experience or lack thereof. If you want really specific drugs talked about, if you want really specific conditions talked about, I am no doctor, so all of this is for entertainment and education purposes only. I guess that probably should have been at the start of the video. But I've got a wealth of experience and knowledge. So if this is a space you want explored, comment, let me know, and we will do more of these videos.